The showdown in the state of Karnataka continues. The very latest 58 students have been suspended from the school in Shivamogga in the state of Karnataka. There, Nabila is getting asked more details. She continues to be on top of this very big story that we've been tracking very closely. Good morning, Nabila. And do take us through the developments from today.
Morning,
do tell our viewers, Nabila, what's really going on in the state, and this sort of action has been taken, strict disciplinary action, Nabila, against these young students who say it's our wish, it's our right.
Right, Sneham, on that, in fact, we are going to clarify thoroughly with the authorities about whether or not those 58 students have been formally suspended, or was it a verbal communication? Where did this suspension notice really come from? All those details we're going to establish. But for now, we see great confusion coming in from the state of Karnataka on several institutions wanting to follow the High Court's interim order, but it appears they're still confused whether it applies to them or it doesn't. It almost seems like a blanket ban that several government-run institutions in Karnataka have issued against the hijab inside the institutions. Now, even as this hijab fire rages on in Karnataka, the Karnataka government now distances itself from the showdown. The Advocate General representing the state government has now made it quite clear that the decision on hijab has to be taken by the College Development Committee, and the government has really nothing to interfere in it. The Bombay government has also added that they do not wish to intervene in the campus face-off, as according to them, hijab is not an essential religious practice of Islam. Now, Karnataka government even alleged that the government has been dragged into this issue unnecessarily, as the hijab debate in the High Court continues for 10 days straight. Study of these students and their educational future now only hanging in balance. Sadly, students in Karnataka waiting for this clarity from the High Court has really left them in quite a difficult spot, where many of them are seen standing right outside because they refuse to remove the hijab inside classrooms. Many of them who've been wearing it all along have been suddenly asked to take off. It's very hard for them to, of course, accommodate and try to pull off the hijab and enter classrooms overnight. Understandable, but it's also mandatory at the same time that the Karnataka government issues a standard operating procedure guidelines that really avoids this confusion at the earliest. Now, we're also awaiting the hearing that will be taken up on Monday at 2:30 p.m. Now, in the meanwhile, of course, we know that this entire issue kicked off in Udupi itself. On what really Udupi stands for. All right, let me quickly cut across to Nolan Pinto joining us live for more on that. Nolan, yet we're looking at 7 days now since this hearing began, and the commotion, confusion still prevails in Karnataka, outside Karnataka government schools and colleges. Today, we hear there was some commotion in Shivamogga about some of the students being suspended, but no formal order has come as yet. So this suspension notice is still questionable. But give us some details about what stand the Karnataka government has taken entirely. We hear that they've completely distanced themselves from this entire commotion, saying we've not directed any college or schools to stop wearing the hijab. It's all up to the CDC guidelines. If they've done it, they continue. If they haven't, then it's up to them.
Well, Nabila, in fact, the information that we are getting is that 58 students were suspended by the principal because they were protesting and shouting slogans for the past 3 days. However, as of now, the DC says that he has not heard anything of this. About this, he says that the principal denies that these girls were actually suspended, but our sources tell us that they were in fact suspended. So we'll try and get more information. The district in charge minister is also present right here in Shivamogga. Now, this has taken place at a school in a taluk which is about 70 to 80 kilometers from the main city. So let's see what the district in charge minister has to say about this, because yesterday in the Karnataka High Court, they have clearly stated that they don't want their hands to get dirty as such, in other words, and that they have left it to the CDC, or the College Development Committee, to take a call on whether or not religious attire will be allowed inside the classroom or not. So we'll have to wait for what the district in charge minister, Narayan Gowda, tells us.
Right. In the meanwhile, we saw, Nolan, several districts where boys have also taken up for the girls. We saw in Kodagu, we saw instances even in Shivamogga where boys now are saying if our girls, Muslim girls, are not allowed inside classrooms without the hijab, then we will also boycott classes. We are not going to attend classes either. So this agitation has only grown in might, with many more students now jumping in to protest and make this an ugly affair outside educational institutions. And mind you, I'm saying this repeatedly, examinations are barely 2 weeks away.
Well, Nabila, this is what we are actually seeing in a few districts where boys from the same community as the girls have actually come out saying that it is their right to actually enter the class wearing their hijab, and especially in those institutions that actually allowed them to wear their hijab earlier. So they say that if you're not allowing them, then we will also not enter. But what is sad is because especially for second-year pre-university students, you will know how important it is, especially if you're a science student also, what with all your tuitions, and your exams are starting on the 16th of April. So they should, as of now, be getting the best of possible guidance from their teachers, from tuitions, and be studying. But rather, as of now, these protests are going on because the Karnataka government clearly has not come out with any sort of standard operating procedure, protocols, which has actually exacerbated this particular situation. So this is the situation as of now.
Right, Nolan, you know, this is why it's an appeal time and again that we're making to the authorities to try and step in at the earliest. Because on one hand, we're seeing students' education, their future currently that's standing in balance. And at the same time, college managements and school managements also very apprehensive because they don't know exactly what kind of order, the interim order, the High Court issued. In fact, the High Court has issued an interim order, whether they have got to follow it or not got to follow it. It's only for the government and authorities here to try and avoid that commotion by communicating on both ends. And that kind of communication we haven't seen. As a result, we're seeing a fallout of many students coming out and protesting vehemently right outside schools and colleges. Ugly scenes as it unfolds, and we all know that it kicked off from the very lovely town of Udupi. Udupi is known as a temple town. It's seen people of different communities living together in peace and harmony for eons. It's very sad that Udupi, such a lovely coastal town, is now known for this hijab controversy the world over. But what's the real social fabric of that town? I spoke to some of them from Udupi, local residents who've lived there for generations with their families. Here's what they have to say. Udupi, the coastal town in Mangaluru, which is now in the spotlight over the hijab row and the controversy, has so long had people of different religions living in peace and harmony. I have a bunch of them with me from different faiths to give us a perspective of what really Udupi town all about is. Here is Saurabh. Saurabh is a youngster here and has several friends of different faiths. Saurabh, how do you look at this controversy?
See, actually, back in my school days, we all were together irrespective of any religion or any caste, creed or something. Because of this issue, now there is one dispute between students, and I totally disagree with the other who have started this issue. It's just a small issue. It should have been sorted or solved inside the college. So they have made it into a political, they have given a political angle to this issue, and they have made it a big issue. So it's become a national issue out of nothing.
Yeah, and it's very disappointing that it's students who are bearing the brunt of this kind of ugly politics that's churned out of this. Amrit, Shenoy, you've been holding peace meetings. You've been really trying to urge for communal harmony. But Udupi in general, as much as on one side they say it's a communal hotbed, you still have all communities living in harmony, and never have this situation really occurred to such an extent.
Yeah, I born and brought up in Udupi. Udupi is having a very nice history where you can refer as a example and a classic example for communal harmony. We had Haji Abdullah. He's a founder of Corporation Bank, and now it is Union Bank of India. He was a very rich and big trader. And also we have Krishna Temple and 8 mutts. When Krishna Temple was going under some crisis, Haji Abdullah helped temple, and Haji Abdullah was a big donor. And we have Bappanadu. There are many places where Udupi can be referred as a ideal for communal harmony. It's very unfortunate that some fanatic, some religious groups, they are trying to disturb the harmony. All these years, Udupi was famous for hotel. Now today, Udupi has become international. You know, people are talking about Udupi. It's very unfortunate. It shouldn't have been. The case.
This kind of conversation over Udupi is really unfortunate because such a beautiful town. Oh my God, it's such great food, such great people, and the warmth that you get here, honestly, it's unparalleled. Prashant Saldana, Jatana, beg your pardon. Prashant, you are Christian?
Yeah.
Yeah, Prashant,
Yes.
how unfortunate is a situation like this?
मैं हिंदी में बात करना चाहता हूँ. एक्चुअली अभी हमारा फ्रेंड ने बोला है आज अब्दुल्ला साहब का बारे में. अभी जो हमारा इधर उडुपी में एक अच्छा एक चर्च है, वो चर्च का जगह दिया हुआ है कृष्णा मठ वाला ने. तो कृष्णा मठ और चर्च वाला रहेगा और मुस्लिम रहेगा, सब हम लोग साथ में था, अभी भी साथ में. अगर 2-3 लोग, एक 4-5, अब अगर आपका उंगली में गिन सकते हैं, इतना लोग हमारा एंटायर अभी हमारा जो यूनिटी को डिस्ट्रॉय कर रहा है. तो इसको रुकने के लिए अपने को किधर भी जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. जो करते सबको मालूम है, डिपार्टमेंट को मालूम है कौन इसका पीछे है. उनको पकड़ेंगे तो ये एक ही दिन में, आधा घंटे में ये फुल सॉल्व हो जाएगा.
Pramila is also a Christian. I mean, it's unfortunate that I have to actually introduce them as Christian, Muslim, Hindu, because, you know, that's the environment here, so charged. But Pramila ji, you are seeing a situation like this, but really, genuinely, what's your equation and relation with people of different faiths? And does any of this ever affect you and your relation with them? Tell me, I can hear you.
क्या बोल सकते हैं हम लोग एक है. भारत देश में हम लोग जीने वाला, हम लोग एक है. क्या अभी कुछ हो रहा है ना, ये सब कुछ छोटा संगठन सब ये जानबूझ के कर रहे हैं. इसमें हमारा देश का लड़कियों का, सब स्टूडेंट्स का एजुकेशन सब खराब हो रहा है. अभी कोरोना से भी बहुत खराब हो गया. अभी ये क्या है, ये एक ही कारण
ऐड हो रहा है. आप एक दूसरे के घर जाते हो क्या? अगर when you have a Hindu festival, you have Muslims over. Amrit, I know you have some.
I am pretty close with many people, irrespective of their religious background, and every.
Does it matter to you who's from what religion, who wears what?
No. I have never seen any human with respect to their religious practice, because we were not taught like that in our childhood. So actually, I was staying in very orthodox family. My grandfather was an archak. And forget about non-veg. Onion and all these things were not allowed in my house. But I used to go to my good friend Akram's house for biryani. So it was our culture. Akram used to come to our house to watch TV. TV was very, not in every house in those days. So I have many Muslim girls, Christian girls. And we never, felt that religious angles in our friendship.
Never felt that divide. Reshma is here, as evidently you see, she is Muslim. Reshma, आप ऐसे ये जो हिजाब का इशू जो आया है उडुपी में, ऐसे पहले हुआ था क्या? और आपको कैसे फील होता है अब ऐसा जब फैल चुका है? आप अलग फील करते हो?
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है कि सब लोग, हम लोग हिंदू या मुस्लिम सब भाई सब है, बहन भाई सब एक ही. हम लोग का जो है हिजाब जो है, हम लोग के परंपरा हमारे हुजूर के ज़माने से उधर से आया हुआ है. ये तो हिजाब नहीं निकाल सकते. हम लोग को एजुकेशन भी चाहिए और हम लोग को हिजाब भी चाहिए. हम लोग का मुस्लिम धर्म का है, वो हम लोग को चाहिए.
ये बहुत इतने साल पहन के आए हो, कोई हिंदू या कोई क्रिश्चियन ने आपको मना किया है ऐसे क्यों पहनते हो? कुछ क्वेश्चन किया है?
पहला तो कोई नहीं किया है. अभी तो स्कूल और स्टूडेंट से उधर होता है ना, हम लोग देख लेके अभी पूछ रहे क्यों लेके, इधर से केसरी शॉल डाल के लेके, इधर से हिजाब तो परंपरा पहले से, यानी 7th स्टैंडर्ड से चलने के आले के.
तो वो बोलते हैं कि आप 7th स्टैंडर्ड से पहन रहे, क्या आप किसी ने आपको प्रेशर ये फोर्स किया है क्या लगाने के लिए?
नहीं, हम लोग का धर्म का है ना, इस्लामी का है ना, हम लोग को डालना ही चाहिए ना. हम लोग बिगड़ गोशा या पर्दे से हम लोग बाहर नहीं जा सकते. इतने सब छोटे बच्चे से लेते बड़े तक भी चल. हम लोग का, हमारे 2 मक्का मदीना है, उधर से हम लोग का चलने का आया है. उधर का
आप किसी को हक नहीं है कि आपको बोलने के लिए
नहीं, किसी को नहीं. और एजुकेशन का हिजाब का क्या है, क्या संबंध है?
कोई कनेक्शन नहीं है. हाँ, अशफाक जी, आपके दोस्त है हिंदू
मेरा तो बहुत से दोस्त लोग है, हिंदू मुस्लिम क्रिश्चियन सब। उडुपी में हम लोग, मैं अभी गल्फ में भी था 28 एज। उधर जो भी फेस्टिवल होता था, जो दीपावली बोलो या क्रिसमस बोलो, हर फंक्शन में हम लोग जाता था, वो लोग भी आता था। ऐसा नहीं है कि, और हिजाब का बारे में प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का जमाने से ये चलते आ रहा है हिजाब का बारे में, ये तो कोई बदला नहीं सकता। अभी कुरान में जो है कोई आदमी बदला नहीं सकता, कोई चीज के लिए भी। हिजाब का कभी कोई ये नहीं कर सकते।
ठीक है, मगर आप कैसे घुल मिल के कैसे रहते हो? आपका नाम?
मेरा नाम मोहम्मद इकबाल है। हाँ। हम लोग यहाँ पे हर हिंदू हो या मुस्लिम हो या क्रिश्चियन हो, हम लोग सब लोग यहाँ पे मिल के रह रहे हैं। ऐसा कुछ नहीं है। ये जो मामला जो है अभी अभी हुआ है, और हिजाब जो है,
क्या आपका इक्वेशन बदलेगा ये मामले के बाद? ऐसा जो हिजाब कंट्रोवर्सी, विल इट चेंज योर रिलेशन विद योर हिंदू फ्रेंड्स?
रिलेशन तो हमारा मरते दम तक नहीं बदलेगा। और हिजाब जो है हमारा पहले से हुजूर सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के जमाने से चलते आ रहा है और आगे भी रहेगा। हिजाब को और एजुकेशन को कुछ संबंध नहीं है।
ठीक है, सो वेल यू नो
इकबाल ने बोला है इस साल भी वो बिरयानी लाके देगा मुझे। तो हमारा
इकबाल,
ईद पर हमारे यहाँ से बिरयानी अमृत शणै सर के घर पे जाता है, और बहुत सारे मेरे हिंदू दोस्त है, यतीश हो, सुधीर कुड़गी हो, बहुत सारे दोस्त है, उनके घर पे जाते हैं। और दिवाली को जो है उनके घर से हर स्वीट्स हमारे अपने घर पे आता है।
यही है ना, दिस इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ
भाईचारा है। हम लोग कभी नहीं है कि वो हिंदू या क्रिश्चियन या मुस्लिम, नहीं, हम मरते दम तक हम लोग साथ में ठहरते हैं। कोई कुछ भी इंसिडेंट होता है इधर, हम लोग सब लोग साथ में ही है। हम कभी दिल में कभी भेदभाव नहीं। हम बच्चों को स्कूल भेजते हैं तो हम लोग यही बोलते हैं, सिर्फ दो धर्म में, एक लड़का एक लड़की, और उससे बढ़ के कोई धर्म नहीं है।
Right. So, well, if this is the face of what true Udupi is, then the fact that this is gone out of proportion like this seems entirely politically motivated. Please turn your
Yeah. See, one of my very good friends was just a month back he expired, but he was in deathbed and he had cancer, and he was in a requirement of blood. His name is Janardhan. He's a Hindu.
Yeah.
But when I searched and when I was looking for the blood, more than 60-70 blood what he has received from the Muslim boys. The one fellow was there, now he went to Dubai, he arranged it. So in Udupi we have never seen all these things. Recently as Prashant told, some forces, they are disturbing the peace for the political purpose. And I don't know, Udupi people will continue to live as a brothers and sisters.
That was my question, that whether this kind of politics that's being played out is going to really affect equations and relationships between people who've so long lived in such peace and harmony. Is this not the real face of India? Is this not what cultural diversity really means? And should we not celebrate this as it is? I think this is a question for all of us to mull over. On that note, with camera person Daniel, this is Nabila Jamal for India Today, Udupi. All right, we're seeing tensions, anger and emotions really running high in several parts of Karnataka's outside educational institutions. We're seeing a heated clash between students, parents and the school and college managements. In fact, there's still a lot of confusion on who is to apply the High Court's interim order and who is to not. We're going to take you through these ugly scenes, and as much as this plays out, our only worry here is that students' future now left hanging in balance.
Hijab is our right.
Anger in campuses.
We want justice.
Postponement of exams. Uncertainty and chaos. The protests over hijab is showing no signs of dying down.
We want justice.
In Kodagu, several students staged a protest outside a government college against the ban on hijab. In Chitradurg, there were heated arguments between students and the local police. There was high drama at Milagros College of Udupi, where several Muslim students staged a protest outside the college, alleging they were not allowed to write exams in hijab.
Now the exams are going on, and headmaster, principal is like, you can come to college, you can go anywhere in college, just if you want to enter the class, if you want to write exam, or if you want to sit inside the class, you will have to remove the hijab.
बाहर इसलिए क्योंकि हमको हिजाब अलाउड नहीं है क्लास के अंदर। वो प्रिंसिपल बोले है कि अगर क्लास के अंदर आने का है तो आपको हिजाब निकालना पड़ेगा, वो हम नहीं मान रहे।
It's not in their hand, it's a government rule, right? It's a court rule. Until court order, they can't do anything. It's not in their hand.
After 3 years of working as an English lecturer at the Jain PU College in Bengaluru, Chandni resigned from her post, citing the hijab ban as the reason.
ಈ 3 ವರ್ಷಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಏನೂ ತೊಂದರೆ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಆರಾಮ್ಸೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. ಬಟ್ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಸರ್ ಕರೆದು ನಮಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಹಿಜಾಬ್ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೇ ರಿಲಿಜಿಯಸ್ ಸಿಂಬಲ್ಸ್ನ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಂತೆ ರಿಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡದಂತೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಮಗೆ ಆರ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು 3 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಹಿಜಾಬ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಲೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಅದು ನನ್ನ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಗೆ ಧಕ್ಕೆ ಆಯಿತು. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಸ್ವತಃವಾಗಿ ರಿಸೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
Far from getting subdued, the fire is only spreading. There was chaotic scenes outside a college in Vijaypura, with students claiming women with tilak on their forehead were not being allowed to enter. In the Karnataka High Court, the hijab case continued to be debated. The petitioner in the High Court sought freedom for Muslim students to wear the hijabs at least on Fridays and during the holy month of Ramzan. There was also a fresh controversy. On Thursday, the Karnataka government issued a fresh notification stating that the High Court's proposal of no hijab inside classrooms also applied to minority-run schools. Leader of opposition Siddaramaiah said that the order was against the court order and that he had spoken to Chief Minister Bommai to withdraw the notification.
The students of the minority department, they are totally disturbed today. Their parents are disturbed today. So we demanded the withdrawal of the Chief Minister told me that he will take up the meeting with Manivandan and others.
Now, with many educational institutions still not willing to allow students as well as teaching staff to wear a hijab or any other religious attire and enter the campus, banners such as these mentioning the interim order of the Karnataka High Court have been put up across the state in order to avoid confrontation as much as possible. With video journalist Madhuar, Nolan Pinto for India Today in Shivamogga.